Summary of Canto 5, Chapter 6, The Activities of Lord Rishabhadeva. Hearing that Lord Rishabhadev did not welcome mystic powers, Parikshit began inquiring. He asked, why did Rishabhadev neglect mystic powers? For Atmaramas who have attained knowledge by practice of Bhakti Yoga and who have burned up the seeds of karma, the powers of mystic yoga arise automatically and they do not cause any distress. So when Parikshit asked this question, Shukadeva Goswami described the nature of the mind. Shukadeva Goswami said, actually one must never trust the mind. You have spoken correctly, but advanced souls do not put faith in the mind, just like how a hunter does not put faith in his captured animals. The mind takes on new condition at every moment. Just as a cunning man behaves nicely but then robs and kills a trusting man, the mind shows itself as pure and fixed in hearing and meditation, but given an opportunity, it suddenly becomes absorbed in sinful objects and takes away discriminating knowledge. So, one must never make friends with the unsteady mind, because by trusting it, even Lord Shiva was agitated by Mohini Murti, and the long-standing austerity of Shaubari Muni was quickly destroyed. The mind gives facility to enemies like lust, anger, and greed, and when given a chance by a yogi who trusts it, it is like an unchaste wife who paramours can come back to kill the husband. Lust, anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, fear, and so on have the mind as their root cause. Together, these constitute the bondage of karma. What learned man would put faith in the mind? Just as the paramours of an unchaste wife will kill her husband, the anarthas caused by the restless mind will kill the yogi by entangling him in karma. To teach the yogis how to give up the body, Lord Rishabhadev assumed the dress and language of an avaduta. He acted as if dull and materially bound, although he was the head of all the rulers of the universe. Constantly seeing himself as non-different from the Lord without intervention by the material energy, he concluded his pastimes on earth. Although Rishabhadev had no material body due to Yogamaya, he considered his body material and behaved like an ordinary human being. He wandered all around the earth and he reached the Karnataka state in South India, where he passed through the Konka, Venka and Kutaka, and finally reaching a forest near Kutakachala, which is cooled by his own will, he moved naked with hair disheveled like a madman and a stone in his mouth. His body was burnt in the forest fire created by the rubbing of bamboos agitated by the forest wind. While fire burned up the gross bodies of trees and animals in that forest, Rishabhadev burned up their subtle bodies. Thus they all attained liberation. Arhat, the king of Konka, Venka and Kutaka, will hear the activities of Rishabhadev. Being bewildered by Kali Yuga, he will imitate Lord Rishabha's principles and concoct a deviant system of religion, which is opposed to Vedic injunctions. The jivas of Kali Yuga, looking in the external world, will get benefit by hearing and chanting the pastimes of Rishabhadev, but not by imitating his behavior. The followers of that system, bewildered by the Lord's Maya, will abandon Varnashrama Dharma, bathing, achaman, worship and cleanliness. They will accept concocted religion, take off their hair, pluck out their hair and flourish. They deride the Vedas, Brahmanas and Lord and his devotees. They follow the disciplic succession of the blind, Andha Parampara, and they fall down into the darkest regions of existence. Rishabhadev incarnated to deliver people in this world who are overwhelmed by the modes of passion and ignorance from the clutches of Maya. Bharatavarsha is the most pious among all lands and on this earth because its inhabitants are accustomed to glorifying the auspicious activities of the Lord's incarnation, such as Rishabha, this place is considered extremely pure. Priyavrata's dynasty is pure and celebrated, for in it appeared the original supreme person who executed dharma for destroying the results of karma. Which yogi can compare with Rishabhadev and follow his example even in his mind? He rejected all yogic perfections which other yogis hanker to attain. Rishabhadeva is the master of all Vedic knowledge, human beings, demigods, cows and brahmanas. Hearing his pastimes and his activities will vanquish sinful activities. It will create complete auspiciousness and make one attain pure devotional service. Devotees always bathe themselves in the lake of bhakti for relief and for the suffering of get relief from the suffering of samsara. They enjoy supreme bliss and they can reject even liberation which comes of its own accord. Just by being servants of the Lord, they have attained everything that is desirable. Lord Rishabha appeared in Priyavrata's dynasty. The Supreme Lord appeared in Uttanapada's dynasty as both Prithu and Kapila, and in Raghu as Ramachandra and in Yadu as Krishna. Because Parikshit Maharaj might be thinking that the Lord did not appear in his dynasty in Kuruvamsha, Shukadev Goswami encourages him by reminding him about Lord Krishna's intimate dealings with the Pandavas and how bhakti is superior to liberation. So he brought in the glories of the Pandavas. He said to Parikshit, "My dear king, Mukunda is the maintainer, the spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and director of both the Yadus and the Pandavas, but he was sometimes your servant. To those who worship the Lord, he gives liberation very easily, but not direct service unto him. He doesn't give bhakti easily. The Lord was more affectionate to the Pandavas than the Yadus. Thus, he gave the highest prema to them. He does not give inferior liberation to his pure devotees." Shukadev Goswami then offered his obeisance to Rishabhadev. Rishabhadev was fully aware of his true identity, self-sufficient, and he was not desiring external gratification. Out of his causeless mercy, he taught the self's real identity and the goal of life. So this ends the summary of Canto 5, Chapter 6, the activities of Lord Rishabhadev. Hare Krishna.